Hello and welcome back to our Meet the Artist series. Today I am here with Michele Agosto, the Director of Arts for Buffalo Public Schools. So welcome, Michele.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
We're so excited to have you, especially as we're in the midst of Arts and Education Week. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your background in the arts?
Certainly, I'd be happy to. So I am, as you've mentioned, the Director of Arts for the Buffalo Public Schools. I have been in this district for 26 years. 10 of those years have been as an art teacher for grades 3 through 8, which I loved. It was one of the best times of my life teaching young people art. Um, I've been here in Buffalo for as long as I've worked here, so 26 years. So I'm originally from New York City. I went to high school for art. I went to LaGuardia High School for Music and the Arts, and then I went to School of Visual Arts in New York City. And so I continued my love for the arts through my undergraduate, and then ultimately my graduate program as I became a teacher of the arts, of art education. And so I loved it. I still love what I do. I think the arts are a powerful tool to get young people working together, to get young people learning about each other, learning about the world, to think creatively, think critically, to use language that is that can be verbal, but there's other types of languages, and using visual text and other expressive modalities of language. I think the arts in general do all of those things really well. And I am a huge proponent of it, obviously, and get very excited when I talk about it.
Awesome, yeah. So, you said you started out and, arts is your schooling, but I mean, what continued to inspire you to keep going with art and to make it, part of your career?
Yeah, so it's unusual, at least when I was younger. I won't say my age, but when I was younger, to have in a family like mine, which is a very blue collar working class family, a Latino family, to have them encourage my love for the arts. They knew at a very young age that I enjoyed it. And they knew at a very young age that it made me happy and that I had some skill, even though, it's practice, practice, practice. It's like, like anything else, you get better by practicing. But they encouraged me. So it really was family that allowed me to see that there was opportunity in this kind of work. And so once they said it was okay, and they thought I was kind of crazy, they're like, okay, hope you make money,
Right.
you know. But once they got over that, they were really super supportive and encouraging, and I couldn't have done it without them. I couldn't have done it without their belief that I could do it and that I can actually make something out of that work. And then once you get that approval, it's pretty easy. You go into school and you find other people that are like-minded, and you connect to those people, and then you kind of grow your circle outwards until you feel that, at some point, especially when you're young, you could just conquer anything, and it's okay. You're doing it through the arts, and it's possible.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mhm.
Obviously, kind of a dark cloud for us for almost 2 years now has been, COVID-19, and it's especially impacted our schools and our ability to provide that kind of arts programming. So, how did it affect Buffalo schools? What are some examples of how you guys were able to make that shift and continue the very valuable and important arts education?
Yeah, thank you for that question, because it wasn't easy. We are lucky to have a district that supports the programming that we've put forward in the arts. And so that, ultimately is really important. If you want to move forward in any kind of interesting direction, you have to have the support of people that actually fund your programming, and they did. So the district was really great about allowing me an opportunity to be creative about some of the programming, because we didn't want it to stop. Art making shouldn't stop. In fact, during COVID, art making, being creative was hugely important. You know, I think without having an ability to express yourself during a really stressful time in our lives, it actually continues to be a little bit stressful. You know, without that ability to output that, to put that out there in a really productive and safe way, you know, I think we would have a lot of struggling young people, but we don't. And I think it's because of these opportunities to express and to share and in any kind of manner through any kind of genre. But what we did this past year was everything was virtual. Teachers first had to get acclimated to that. And once they figured it out, and they all figured it out, you know, it wasn't the same, but they figured it out, you know, then it was up to me and my support staff. And I work with another person. Her name is Renee Obringer. She's a teacher on special assignment. And we worked together to figure some stuff out. So we actually did our musical theater program. We didn't have 20 schools like we did the year before. We had like 8, but we, you know, we made it through, and they did virtual musical theater productions, you know, and the kids that were involved obviously enjoyed it. It was something that they needed and wanted to do, and it was hard work, but they did it. You know, we offered virtual arts exhibitions. We worked with El Museo, and we did something called the Exquisite Corpse event. So teachers and students created artwork based on this concept of exquisite corpse. It sounds grisly, but it's actually a lot of fun. And we did a lot of work with that. And we actually had a live Zoom event where we talked about the work, and that was a lot of fun. And then we had some pre-recorded virtual art exhibitions and poetry reading and some monologues that students did that were part of these events. So we just try to give as many opportunities for kids to continue to to have a platform to express themselves and to share their love for art, whether or not they're practicing artists. You know, not everyone who did this as part of Arts Academy. These were kids in other schools that participated in this.
Awesome. Yeah, incredible. I mean, same thing here in audiences. We were doing the same thing, putting out as much as we could virtually, and any kid that we did have come through, and even some parents reaching out to us, it was impactful. I mean, it really made a difference to just be able to have that time with other people, even if it was virtually, but especially doing what you love, doing that art form that you just can't get enough of.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, as we were talking about the arts in Buffalo and just the general arts in Buffalo scene is changing. But what do you kind of see for the future? I mean, do you think these elements of virtual are going to stay in even the school system? Are you planning to kind of incorporate that even as we continue in person?
Mm-hmm. So yes, I think inevitably, like, at first you're like, I'm never going to use this ever again. And then you're like, well, there's a benefit to this, And I think teachers generally have found that new ways to teach. It's just another tool. And how do you use the tool virtually, connecting kids? One thing that I found in the classroom is that not every child wants to speak, but everyone doesn't mind putting in something in the chat. And so it really is a way to get all children involved, getting kids' voices out there in different ways. You may not hear them, but you can see what they're writing and thinking about. So yes, I think they're going to be elements that we're going to keep. And in fact, I think for us having the opportunity to continue some virtual exhibitions, I think is really great, because I think it allows, space is limited, but virtual space right now is not. And
Right.
so, we can get a bunch of young people who may want to do some, say I do a lot of art, but, we do have dance and theater kids, and they don't always have the same opportunities to show their work. So we can do short videos. We can create some sort of virtual event for people to share, because the best thing about this is what I've learned is that you have it forever.
Right.
You have the actual action forever on video. Whereas, when you're on stage, it's a moment and it's beautiful, but it is a moment. You have pictures and that's it, but you can see that again. So I think that I found to be really special, and I actually have found myself looking back at some stuff and enjoying it again, and it's been great that way. So yes, I definitely think we'll keep some of the elements. There's nothing like being in front of a teacher, hands-on, creating work with someone actually engaging with you right in front of you. It's just very different. It's a whole different sensibility and sensation that the arts needs, but I do think there are some elements here that we can keep and use, and that will benefit everyone at the end.
Absolutely. So, we are celebrating Arts and Education Week, and, we are a huge advocate and strongly believe in arts education. But if you could give kind of a couple of reasons, because I know that there's thousands, but, why is arts and education so important for, our community?
Well, yes, there are 1,000 reasons,
Yeah.
but I know it. So, but yeah, I think for me, the arts, it's obviously a place where you become creative and you critically think, but it's also a place where you communicate and you collaborate. And so for me, Arts and Education Week, the highlight for me is that part of communicating and collaborating with others, and so the district every year during this week offers what we call a family fun art night. And so this year on the 16th, Thursday, we will be holding our family fun art night at Broderick Park. And we've partnered with Broderick Park through Friends of Broderick Park. So they're not an arts organization at all. They're more about the park and sustaining the beauty of the park and its history. And it's grounded in the Underground Railroad history, Native American history, all sorts of amazing history that little park has. But we decided to partner with them, and through art, learn about Broderick Park. And by learning about that, writing poetry about Broderick Park, and then doing murals. And so we're going to unveil our mural that we did based on Broderick Park at Broderick Park. And we're going to have our students read their spoken word, in their amphitheater. And we're making these connections through art, but still doing things that are academic. For me, art is academic, but this just proves what it can do. And it can make these kinds of connections, for children and for adults, that actually make the history come alive for people. And so so for me, it's all about, communicating, talking to one another, learning, using the arts as a tool to develop better relationships with people, to have better understandings with the people that we live with in this world, and it's also a way to collaborate and to highlight, all the wonderfulness that many of our organizations have, whether or not they're an arts organization. But most of the time, all the organizations that I've learned, that I've worked with, I have learned that at the end of the day, our goal is the same, and it's to make our community a better place. And so if we can keep that in our mind, and use art as that, as a resource, as a way to do that, then I'm all in it. And Arts and Education Week just does that for me, because it just highlights all of that kind of work that we do.
Absolutely. So, you talked about what's happening on September 16th, but, what's going on this fall? What can people get excited about? And then how can they, learn more about you?
Okay, so yes, there's so many things. So we are hoping to be in person again in a lot of our events. So we're working on our calendar of events, and it's a little sticky, but we hope to have our Celebrating Art event back in the library. We have a beautiful partnership with the Buffalo and Erie, the Buffalo and the Erie, the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library.
Yep.
I had to think of the acronym right there. And we have a beautiful partnership with them. And every year we usually have a district-wide art show with about 260 pieces that we show from our students pre-K through 12. So I'm hoping that comes back. We will do some virtual events. Our first art show, our first arts event will be virtual. It's called the Peace Project. So we'll post that on YouTube and on our Facebook page. We have a BPS Art Education Facebook page. So please friend us. We'd love for you to join us. And I'll share that link with young audiences, of course, and if you don't mind sharing that. And then we'll have our musical theater productions. We hope to have some new dance programming coming through. And we're just excited just to continue our summer program with our Mural Mania and bringing back our Woke Words program, which was that spoken poetry. And as for me, I just keep doing what I do. I love my work here as the director of arts, and I also do my own artwork, working in my own arts organization called Los Artistas de Barrio Buffalo. And so we'll be working on that, and then continuing my community work and all of that good stuff that just keeps me really, really busy, but very, very happy.
Absolutely, yes. Well, thank you so much. I mean, I'm so excited to see, we're so excited that school's back. We're so excited that kids are back in the classroom, and, we can't wait to keep sharing arts education with the Buffalo community because it is so important. But thank you so much for being here today. We really, really appreciate it.
Oh, I'm glad to have been here. Thank you for asking me.